An incredible symbolism tonight. You know, the Pompeo strides down, he goes on the bus, he comes back to the president, and then him and the president go and they greet these North Korean hostages. And one of the striking moments to me was when one of those hostages, he put his arms around Pompeo, gave him a giant hug, and Pompeo was slapping on the back, he was smiling, having the best time. He was such a solemn guy when he was CIA director. Whenever he was in those cabinet meetings, he would sit solemnly. He wouldn't
different role.
Very different role. But now, you know, it's to see him out in front in the public eye. He's got vigor in his step, and there's so much warmth between him and the president. The president thanked him by name. It's just such a stark difference between him and former Secretary of State Rex Tillerson.
Yeah, and so how does he turn that into substance beyond symbolism? And so the president gets a victory tonight. That should be noted. But there's a lot of hard work to be done to actually denuclearize North Korea.
Right. I mean, actually, if anything, the hard part starts now. We got those hostages out. We have the preconditions set. Now we're supposed to have a summit in which we have to discuss North Korea giving up its most prized possession, something that they have literally dedicated their entire nation's goods. Millions of their people have starved so that these missiles could be built. And now they're supposed to give them up? That's going to be very, very difficult for Kim Jong-un to swallow. And the president is essentially demanding complete and total, verifiable denuclearization.
We were hearing a moment ago that the bus was about to arrive at Walter Reed Army Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland. It had merged recently with the Bethesda Naval Hospital there here in the Washington area, and that bus was carrying the 3 Americans who obviously are going through a lot of medical tests to make sure physically and mentally that they're okay. But I suspect, as you know as well, that the U.S. government is going to spend a lot of time with these 3 freed Americans in the hours and days ahead to debrief them as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's really sad. One of those hostages has actually been held since October of 2015 in a forced labor camp. I mean, these are horrific, horrific conditions. You saw that his head was shaved, and, you know, we don't really know what the inside state of it, what he was fed. It is really sad to see. But you're right. We have to debrief them. We have to understand what happened. Maybe it can give us some insight into what happened to Otto Warmbier. I mean, we're still sitting here almost a year later. We have absolutely no idea what happened to this young man who died in North Korean captivity, and maybe they can give us some insight into what happened there.
Well, Saagar and Enjeti, you raised an important point that we want to say before we close again tonight, that Otto Warmbier is in our thoughts, his family. He was released, and there was a lot of joy at the idea that he was coming home to Ohio, and then it turned out he was so badly beaten and abused by this communist regime